water and 4-speed electronic overdrive transmission. Here's the money in. That's a 582-inch V8. It's 795 horse, naturally aspirated. Yeah. 795 horsepower on the dice. Yeah, and that's not a guess. We actually dyno every motor in here.
What does that mean?
This is a CNC plasma machine. So Devin or one of us will draw something on this machine and it'll cut it on this piece of metal. So when we're making brackets, everything, just shims, anything we need cut out of flat steel, this will do it.
All you guys can come over here too. Come pile in over here.
It won't bite you. You get up and look at it if you want. It's pretty cool. No?
There are plasma cutters, and there's tables that can cut underwater, and you actually completely submerge your piece because it helps with warping. So as the machine blows the air, it actually kicks up water onto the piece and helps cool the piece as well. And the biggest proponent of the water is it keeps the smoke down.
So from, I don't know what it was, 9, 10 years old, I was hanging out with him in the garage, and he was doing major stuff to cars like this. And I started hanging out with him. So I'd read a lot of magazines, look at cars. Well, I bought my first car at 14. I ended up with 2 cars at 14. I rented the neighbor's garage, and I started doing body work on all my brother's friends' car. My brother's 5 years older than me, so you know, I was 14, he was 19. Everybody had cars back then. Back then, cars were freedom. Sure. So you know, that was what everybody did. A few various jobs, and I decided I was going to go paint. So I started painting trucks in my 20s. I worked for a guy for about 5 years painting trucks, and I said I just need to do this on my own. And I rented a shop out in Boring. My day job, painting trucks. And then started working after hours at my own shop. And pretty soon the hours at the day job got smaller, the hours at my shop got bigger. And that was in 1988, 89-ish. He was born during the process in 95. And he's hung out with me ever since. And he kind of went off and did his own thing for a while. And here, a little over a year ago, I decided I was going to move from Oregon City out here with this gigantic building. And I drug him in off the road. He was working on the pipeline. Even though he's worked with me for years before that, ever since he was a little kid, he used to sand motorcycle frames in the dining room.
Yep.
He came to work for me, and so here he is. So this is what I've been doing since 1989, full time, basically. Beau's been with me forever. So as soon as he could walk, he was outside trying to wash cars with me, and it's never stopped, you know. He was in my way, I thought back then. I wished I had a different view on it now that I had then, but there's a lot of respect involved there on both parts. I'm blessed to be able to have family here.
For a bump, the whole frame will flex. It's not just the suspension. There's a certain amount of flex to every single frame and every single chassis. And these do a couple things. So if you look down the entire exhaust system, you'll see like right here, there's a support that supports it to the bed, right? Mm-hmm. Well, if I hit a bump on the left front tire, the left front of the suspension is going to go up, right? Well, if this tube is solid, it's not going to, it's going to twist and it's going to start pulling on the motor. Well, I want the motor to be completely isolated from everything else. So that's why on all motors ever made, they put rubber motor mounts because it allows the entire motor to shake and move and twist just a little bit while everything else stays, because you don't want to damage the motor. That's the goal point of the car, right? So these things are flex. It allows the suspension to move and flex and the chassis to go wherever you want it to go. Plus, it allows me, if I'm an 1/8 inch off up there and an 1/8 inch off up here, these expand and contract just a little bit. So it gives me just a little bit of room in case I didn't wear my glasses that day with the tape measure.
Actually, there's one more thing. Since this is stainless steel exhaust, when it heats and cools will pop and crackle. You hear it all the time. It's worse than mild steel because it's so hard. So those will help take that noise out of it when it's cooling down after you park it, because it'll sing to you forever as it's cooling off.
And a lot of that, what he was explaining, is physics, what you guys learn just in your science class. It's thermal expansion. So as this heats up, it grows. That's why you put a water bottle in the freezer and the water bottle bursts. Yeah, because it expands as it freezes. Well, same thing with almost every metal in the world. It's going to expand when it heats up, and that's what he was saying. The popping and crackling So as it's cooling down, it's starting to contract and move back around. So that's another point too. The good point that he made is it allows that to expand.
This is for the running board, right?
Yep, that's for the running board. But this shows you the underside of a car, shows you the engine, the transmission, all the custom plumbing that we do, all the custom suspension that we do.
I'm blessed to be able to say that my hobby and my passion is also my job.